close your eyes, and let's drift back to the quiet truth of time itself. You're sitting here, listening, feeling the slow rhythm of your own breath, thinking you're in this exact moment. But maybe you're not. Maybe this instant, this heartbeat, already exists alongside every other heartbeat you've ever felt, and every one you ever will. Time, as you know it, might just be a stubborn illusion. Like a film reel with all the frames already printed, waiting for the light of your perception to reveal them in sequence. It's comforting, in a way, because if the past and future already exist, nothing can truly go wrong. Everything has already unfolded. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Tell me your location and local time in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Imagine time as a river, flowing endlessly forward. That's what you've been taught. Past behind you, future ahead. But what if it isn't a river at all? What if it's more like a frozen lake, all moments existing at once, layered and unmoving? Scientists still argue whether time is fundamental or just a clever bookkeeping trick of the universe. Einstein hinted that the division between past, present, and future is only an illusion, however persistent. That means the version of you who first learned to ride a bike is still there, falling over, scraping your knee, somewhere in the fabric of space-time. And the version of you who will someday listen to this story again, already there too. It's like a cosmic library, where every moment you've ever lived, every dull Tuesday, every breathless kiss, every silent panic at 3 a.m. is catalogued and eternal. You think you're moving through those pages, but maybe you're just reading what's already written. The idea is a little terrifying, but also soothing, isn't it? If everything is already laid out, you can't really mess it up. That embarrassing thing you said last week, already part of the script. That future triumph you haven't reached yet, already tucked into a chapter you haven't read. Your brain resists this because it loves the feeling of control. It clings to the ticking of clocks, the rising and setting of the sun. Mainstream science tells you about atomic clocks, those perfect machines that measure time so precisely they lose less than a second over millions of years. But those clocks don't measure time itself. They just measure change, movement. Without change, would time even exist? That's the quirky tidbit. There are some theories that say time is just what we call the order of events, not a real thing at all. Take away events, and time dissolves like sugar in warm tea. You might be wondering, does this mean the future is predetermined? Maybe. Or maybe it's like a choose-your-own-adventure story, with all the possible endings already printed, waiting for you to stumble through the path. Physicists still debate whether quantum uncertainty means the future is open, or if it's just our lack of information making it look that way. The truth, no one really knows. Look around your room, or at least imagine it in the dark behind your closed eyelids. The objects around you feel solid in their now, but even they are slow echoes. Light takes time to reach your eyes. You're never seeing anything in the present. The moon, if you peeked at it tonight, would show you its face from over a second ago. The stars, ancient, some long dead, their final light just arriving to tell you a lie about the present. Time is always slightly behind. Think about how your body feels as you breathe. Slow, shallow, warm. That breath is already gone. The you who began that inhale isn't the same you who finishes it. Time slices you so thin you can't even notice the cut. It's like standing in front of a mirror and not realizing it's reflecting a slightly younger version of yourself, always a few nanoseconds delayed. It's funny in a sad little way, like finding out your favorite TV show finale was spoiled before you even watched the first season. And yet, this realization doesn't have to crush you. It can cradle you, like a soft blanket of inevitability. If the future already exists, then all your fears and all your joys are equally real, equally safe. Nothing you do can erase the good moments that are already fixed in the fabric of space-time. You've already laughed, already loved, already won and lost. You're just gliding along the surface of a story that's both complete and ever unfolding. Picture a simple clock on the wall. Its hands circle endlessly, but they never leave the clock face. They just return again and again, marking time without ever escaping it. That's you. That's all of us. Little hands circling a face we'll never fully see. And yet, despite how small and futile that feels, it also means you can relax. You can't fall off the path. You're already everywhere you're supposed to be. So as you feel yourself sink a little deeper into this moment, let the weight of time loosen its grip. You don't have to rush. You don't have to fix the past or fear the future. They're both already here, already holding you. You're timeless, whether you realize it or not. You're still floating through this layered fabric of moments. But now, tilt your awareness outward, past the ticking of your own mind, past the walls of your room, past the soft hum of distant traffic or the rustling of leaves outside. Keep zooming out, like pinching your fingers on a cosmic map, and you'll see something both humbling and strangely liberating. The universe doesn't need you at all. Galaxies spin lazily in the dark, billions of light years away, utterly indifferent to your tiny dramas. The same stars that once shed the atoms of your body shine for no one in particular. Whether you live, love, fail, or succeed, the Milky Way will keep swirling its quiet spiral. It's a little insulting, isn't it? You've spent so much time thinking your story mattered, and yet the cosmos barely notices. It would carry on just fine without you. But here's the calming twist. If the universe doesn't need you, you're free from the crushing weight of mattering. You can stop performing for some grand cosmic audience. There isn't one. There's only you and the small circle of life you actually touch. It's like realizing you're not on stage at all. You're just wandering through the wings, unseen and unjudged. Think about the vastness for a second. The observable universe is roughly 93 billion light years across. That's a number so big your brain can't truly hold it. You're smaller than a speck of dust inside it. Mainstream astrophysics tells us there are an estimated 2 trillion galaxies out there. Trillions. If each galaxy were a grain of sand, you'd need a beach bigger than your imagination to hold them. And here you are, one fragile human lying in bed, worrying about whether you answered a text too slowly. Now for a quirky tidbit. Did you know the largest known structure in the universe is called the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall? It's a massive cluster of galaxies over 10 billion light years wide. It's so huge that some scientists think it shouldn't even exist, because it breaks our understanding of how the universe clusters matter. And yet it does, silently sprawling across space, never caring what you had for breakfast or how nervous you felt before a meeting. Scientists still argue whether there's even a meaningful center to the universe. Spoiler, there isn't. No preferred spot, no grand stage. It's just an expanding, indifferent void. And while that can make you feel small, it can also release you. If you don't occupy some crucial cosmic position, you're free to live without the anxiety of being essential. The pressure evaporates. Imagine an ant crawling across a massive, empty stadium. To the ant, every crumb matters. Every crack in the floor is a mountain. But to the stadium, the ant isn't even a blip. That's you in the universe. And yes, that could feel crushing if you cling to the need to matter. But if you let it sink in that you don't, there's a soft relief. No one's keeping score. Even here on Earth, your importance is fragile. In 100 years, almost everyone alive today will be gone, and even the most famous names will fade. Remember those crocodile dung sunscreens ancient Egyptians used? Someone thought that mattered deeply once. Now it's just a footnote in history, something we laugh about. Your legacy will likely do the same. Reduced, reshaped, forgotten. And that's okay. Let's zoom out one more layer. The universe itself might not even last. Eventually, entropy will win, and everything will thin out into cold nothingness. The stars will die, the galaxies will drift apart, and even atoms will fall apart. Your entire planet is a temporary accident. Your species is a flicker. You're a flicker of a flicker. And yet, you're still here, alive in this thin sliver of time, feeling the weight of your blanket or the softness of your pillow, able to savor this fleeting awareness. So what does this mean for you right now? It means the stakes aren't as high as you think. That mistake you made, the universe didn't even blink. That fear about what others think of you. No one outside your tiny bubble even knows you exist. You're not carrying the cosmos on your back. You're just drifting through it like a leaf in an endless silent wind. It's kind of funny when you think about it. You're like a single frame in an endless film reel, convinced the whole movie depends on you. But it doesn't. The reel runs with or without you. And if that's true, why not relax? Why not stop trying so hard to leave a mark on a canvas that will erase itself anyway? You're free. Free to laugh at your own mistakes. Free to love without fear of cosmic consequence. Free to just be, without needing to be monumental. The universe doesn't demand anything from you. It simply allows you to exist for this brief and beautiful moment. So as you exhale slowly, let that indifference feel like kindness. The galaxies aren't judging you. The stars aren't waiting for you to prove anything. They're just shining quietly, like they always have. And you, this tiny breath in a sea of infinity, get to rest in that quiet too. You've slipped from the vast, uncaring sprawl of the universe back into the small theater of your own mind. It feels safer here, doesn't it? More familiar. But even this comfort is a kind of trick. Because the reality you think you're sensing, the walls of your room, the faint hum of the fan, the imagined weight of darkness, isn't really the real world. It's a projection, a careful, filtered hallucination stitched together by your brain. Your senses are like cheap translators, fumbling to interpret an overwhelming flood of data. Light hits your eyes, but you never see the light itself. You only see your brain's rendering of it. Sound waves vibrate the bones in your ears, but you never hear the raw vibration. You hear a story your brain invents. The red of an apple. It doesn't exist in the apple. It's just the way your brain interprets certain wavelengths of light. The world out there and the world in here are not the same thing. You've been living in a simulation all along, a personal one. Mainstream neuroscience has a comforting sounding phrase for this. Perception is a controlled hallucination. It means you're not passively receiving reality. You're actively guessing it, moment by moment. When you reach out and touch something solid, what you're really feeling is your brain's best guess about the signals coming in. It's like watching a movie and forgetting it's not real. Your senses are the projector, and your consciousness is the captive audience. Here's a quirky tidbit. Your eyes have a blind spot, literally a hole in your visual field where the optic nerve attaches. You don't notice it because your brain just fills in the missing information with whatever it thinks should be there. It's like a lazy Photoshop job your mind does without telling you. You're walking around with gaps in your reality, and you don't even know it. Scientists still argue whether there's even such a thing as an objective experience at all. Is there a true world beyond your interpretations? Or is everything we call reality just the byproduct of electrical signals bouncing between neurons? The debate spills over into philosophy, and no one has a satisfying answer. What's scarier, or maybe soothing, is that you'll never actually see the real world. You're locked inside your skull, seeing only the movie your brain plays for you. Take sound, for example. Right now, maybe you hear the gentle hum of electronics or the whisper of wind outside. But those sounds don't really exist as sounds in the world. They're just pressure changes in the air. Your brain turns them into meaning. If a tree falls in the forest with no one around to hear it, it doesn't make a sound. Not really. It just makes vibrations. The sound is your brain's private creation. And taste? Touch? Same deal. Your tongue doesn't actually taste sweetness. It just detects certain molecules, and your brain translates that into pleasure. Even pain is like this. Stub your toe, and the injury isn't the pain. The pain is your brain's way of making you pay attention, which means, in some twisted way, your brain is both the creator of your suffering and the only way you know it's happening. Remember how in section 1 we talked about never seeing the present moment, only delayed light? Well, here's another layer. You're also never fully in sync with yourself. Your brain takes about half a second to process what's happening, which means your awareness is always slightly behind. You're like a sports commentator describing the play a moment after it already happened. Life is always a replay. So what about the real you, the one you think is experiencing all this? Even that's up for debate. Your sense of self is just another construction, a bundle of memories and predictions stitched together by neurons. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself, you're not seeing the real you. You're seeing a story your brain tells itself. It's a little funny if you think about it. You've been worrying about how others perceive you, but they're living in their own hallucinations, just as flawed as yours. No one sees the real anything. We're all like people watching different TV screens and assuming we're seeing the same channel. Here's another strange little fact. When you dream, your brain uses the same circuits it uses when you're awake. That means, in a way, waking life is just another dream, one where the inputs are a bit more consistent. It's why sometimes you wake up from a dream still unsure if it really happened. Reality and illusion use the same wiring. So where does that leave you? Strangely comforted, maybe? Because if everything you experience is already filtered and shaped by your mind, even the bad parts are temporary illusions. Pain fades, fear fades, embarrassment fades. It's all just signals, here one moment, gone the next, like clouds passing over a sun you'll never directly see. And think about this. If your brain is constantly making reality up as it goes, maybe you don't need to take it so seriously. The room you're lying in isn't as solid as you think. The problems you carry aren't as heavy as they seem. They're just flickers in the projection booth of your mind. So breathe a little slower. Let the thought sink in that this real world is soft, bendable, and fleeting. And even if you never see what's truly out there, You can rest knowing you're living in the most convincing dream your brain can give you. You're floating now, inside your own private dream of reality. But let's take one step deeper, into the vessel that's been carrying you all along. Your body. It feels like the one solid thing you can rely on, doesn't it? The same hands, the same face in the mirror, the same heartbeat that's been with you since the beginning. But here's the quietly terrifying truth. You're not the same person you were even a moment ago. Literally, you're constantly dying and constantly being reborn. Your cells are in an endless cycle of renewal. Every second, about 50 million of them die. Another 50 million replace them. The lining of your stomach renews every few days. Your skin replaces itself every month. Even your skeleton, the part of you that feels the most permanent, gets swapped out cell by cell over the course of a decade. In a very real sense, the you from 10 years ago doesn't physically exist anymore. That person is gone. They're a memory living inside a body made of different parts. Mainstream biology calls this process homeostasis. It's how your body maintains itself while constantly changing. But when you think about it, it's more like a slow-motion ship of Theseus, except, well, we promise not to go down that philosophical rabbit hole. So let's just say you're more like a sandcastle constantly being rebuilt by invisible waves. It looks the same from a distance, but it's never made of the same grains of sand. And here's a quirky tidbit. Some of your cells are basically immortal. There are neurons in your brain, especially in the cerebral cortex, that are as old as you are. They've been with you since before you were born, quietly holding the shape of your memories, while the rest of you recycles like a cosmic compost bin. It's like carrying around a few ancient relics in a house that's otherwise been completely remodeled. Scientists still argue whether this constant physical renewal means you're literally a different person over time. If none of the cells that made up your childhood body are still here, are you still you? Or are you a series of overlapping selves, each one born, lived, and quietly erased? No one really knows. Consciousness itself is slippery. Maybe it just hops from one temporary body to the next, like a traveler always moving but never arriving. Think about your own face in the mirror. It's familiar, but it's not the same face you saw 5 years ago. New skin, new cells. The soft lines of time gently carving their patterns, telling a story your mind pretends is continuous. But the truth is, there's no single you that lasts. You're more like a river, always flowing, always changing, but somehow still called by the same name. Even your memories aren't as stable as you think. Every time you recall one, your brain rewrites it slightly, like editing a file over and over. The you who remembers isn't the same you who lived it, and the memory isn't the same moment anymore. So when you think about your childhood, you're really just thinking about your last memory of your childhood, not the actual thing. It's a copy of a copy, blurred around the edges. Here's something else to consider. The atoms in your body are on loan. They don't belong to you. They're just passing through. The carbon in your cells was once part of plants, animals, maybe even other people. The oxygen you breathe right now might have been exhaled by someone centuries ago. You're like a temporary collection of borrowed stardust, assembled for a brief moment before scattering back into the universe. And yet, despite this constant turnover, you still feel like you. Isn't that strange? You never notice the tiny deaths happening every second, the skin cells falling like invisible snow, the red blood cells reaching their 120-day expiration date, the gut lining vanishing and reforming. You just move through time, thinking you're whole. It's both unsettling and deeply calming. Because if the past you is already gone, then so are their mistakes. So is their pain. So is their shame. You're a fresh version right now, every moment. Picture yourself as a flame. The shape looks the same second after second, but the particles making it up are never the same. That's your body. That's your identity. You're not a fixed thing. You're a pattern. A wave that looks solid only because it keeps moving. And patterns, unlike matter, are allowed to change without losing themselves. So when you lie here thinking about who you are, remember that you're both temporary and continuous. You're the bridge between what you were and what you're becoming. The old you has already dissolved into the past, and the future you is still under construction. There's only this flickering moment of transition. It's oddly freeing, isn't it? To know you're not trapped in a rigid self, that you're allowed to outgrow your old versions without guilt. The you who worried about something 5 years ago, gone. The you who will worry about something 5 years from now, not here yet. All that really exists is this constantly renewing flicker of life. So take a slow breath. Feel your lungs stretch with air that was once part of someone else's body, someone else's moment. Let it remind you that you're not fixed, you're not permanent. And that's okay. It means you get to keep starting over every second without even trying. You've watched yourself dissolve and rebuild moment by moment, but now let's slip even further inward, past the body, past the pattern of you, into the strange flicker of awareness itself. Consciousness, that quiet voice in your mind right now, the one hearing these words and thinking, yes, that's me. But here's the unsettling, oddly soothing possibility. Consciousness might not have any grand meaning at all. It could just be an accident. Your awareness feels special. It feels like the universe gave you some private backstage pass to existence. But what if it didn't? What if it just happened, like a bubble randomly rising in a pot of boiling water? Mainstream neuroscience still can't explain why you're aware. Your brain processes information, sure, but why does that feel like something? Why isn't it just dark and empty in there? No one knows. Philosophers call this the hard problem of consciousness, and scientists still argue whether it can even be solved. Some think awareness is just an illusion, a byproduct of the brain's complex wiring. Others think it's fundamental to the universe, like space or time. And then there's the awkward middle ground. Maybe it's neither. Maybe it's just a glitch that evolution stumbled into. A weird side effect of neurons firing in just the right way. Like static on an old TV that accidentally looks like a face for a split second. Here's a quirky tidbit. There are creatures that don't seem to have consciousness at all. Take jellyfish. They have no brain, just a loose network of nerves. And yet they live, eat, and survive just fine, never pausing to wonder if their existence is meaningful. You could, theoretically, be like that, running on autopilot, reacting to the world without ever feeling it. Awareness might just be the evolutionary frosting on a very plain cake. Think about it. Your consciousness isn't even that reliable. It blinks on and off. You lose it when you sleep. It disappears under anesthesia. And when it's gone, you don't miss it. Hours or days just vanish. So maybe it's not as crucial as it feels. Maybe you're just awake enough to notice you're here, but not awake enough to really know what here is. There's even evidence that your decisions are made before you're aware of them. In experiments, scientists measured brain activity and found that the brain decides what you're going to do milliseconds before you feel like you made the choice. So this whole story you tell yourself about being in control, It might just be your consciousness taking credit after the fact, like a commentator describing a game that's already been played. And here's the really funny part. Your brain doesn't even need you to function. Most of what it does is unconscious. It keeps your heart beating, your lungs inflating, your body digesting, all without a single conscious thought. In fact, almost everything you do every day runs on autopilot. You only notice the tiniest fraction of what's really happening. So if consciousness is just tagging along for the ride, does it really matter? Scientists still debate whether animals experience the same kind of awareness you do, or if they're just clever biological machines. And what about artificial intelligence? Could it wake up someday and have an inner life? Or would it just mimic the appearance of consciousness, like a mask with no one behind it? The line between aware and not aware is so blurry that we can't even define it clearly. So what if you're not meant to figure it out? What if awareness was never supposed to mean anything? Maybe it's just a cosmic hiccup, an accidental mirror that lets the universe briefly notice itself before going back to silence. And even if that's true, it doesn't have to feel sad. It can actually feel like relief. Because if consciousness has no grand purpose, you're free from the pressure of trying to find one. Imagine awareness as a candle flame in a vast, dark room. It lights up just enough to show you a tiny circle of the world, but the rest stays unknowable. The flame flickers for a while, then quietly goes out. Does the room care? No. But for the time it burns, it feels warm. It feels alive. And maybe that's enough. Maybe you don't need to know why you're conscious. Maybe it's okay to just be conscious, like a bubble rising for no reason other than it can. If you spend your whole life chasing an explanation, you might miss the simple wonder of just feeling the breeze, hearing a voice, or tasting something sweet for no reason beyond the experience itself. So lie here and notice the smallest things. The soft pressure of your body against whatever you're resting on, the faint background hum, the way your breath moves in and out without you telling it to. All of that is happening without needing a why. Consciousness lets you taste the moment, even if it's fleeting, even if it's unplanned. And if awareness really is an accident, that doesn't make it meaningless. It makes it rare. A strange, lucky glitch in the fabric of the universe that somehow gave you this private window into existence. And for as long as it lasts, you get to look out and marvel. You felt your own awareness flicker like a fragile candle. But now imagine that flame being snuffed out. Not just yours, but everyone's, everything's. Because here's the next quiet truth. The universe will forget everything. No matter what you do, no matter what you build or love or destroy, time itself will smooth it all away. Right now, you're surrounded by a thin layer of order. Planets orbit predictably. Stars burn steadily. Your thoughts feel solid. But underneath all of it is entropy, the slow, inevitable unraveling of structure. It's the reason ice melts, the reason metal rusts, the reason memories fade. The universe has one long-term goal, to spread out energy evenly until there's nothing left but stillness. It's called heat death, and it's not as dramatic as it sounds. It's just everything running down. Mainstream cosmology tells us entropy always increases. Left alone, order always becomes disorder. The coffee you spill never jumps back into the cup. Your room doesn't clean itself. Your body, no matter how much you care for it, will eventually give way to decay. And zoom out even further. Stars burn their fuel, galaxies thin out, and eventually even atoms won't hold together. It's like the universe is a great sandcastle, beautiful for a moment, but destined to flatten back into the beach. Here's a quirky tidbit. The information of everything that ever happened might still technically exist, scattered in faint whispers across the universe, like ashes of a burned book. Black holes, for instance, are thought to erase information, but physicists like Stephen Hawking later suggested it isn't truly lost, just scrambled beyond recognition. So in theory, the universe remembers everything, but in a way so garbled it might as well be forgotten. Scientists still argue whether this eventual forgetting is absolute. Maybe the universe will collapse into itself and start over, recycling old patterns. Or maybe it'll expand forever, thinning out until even time loses meaning. Either way, nothing stays. Every structure, every moment, every life story is temporary scaffolding in a cosmic demolition site. Think about the earth you're lying on. It feels stable, but it won't last either. One day the sun will expand into a red giant, boiling the oceans away, swallowing the planet. Every monument, every city, every trace of humanity will vanish. Even the words you're hearing right now will dissolve into silence. And further still, the sun itself will die. The galaxy will keep spinning until its stars flicker out one by one, leaving only darkness. It sounds bleak, but there's a strange comfort in knowing that. Your mistakes? They won't survive the passage of time. Neither will your regrets. Neither will the awkward memory that still makes you cringe late at night. They'll all fade like chalk washed away by the rain. In the long run, nothing is permanent. Not the pain, not the fear, not the pressure to be perfect. Even memory within your own lifetime is proof of this forgetting. Try to recall a day from 5 years ago. Most of it is gone, isn't it? Your brain keeps only scraps, and even those scraps are unreliable, rewritten each time you pull them up. So even while you're alive, time is already erasing you in small, merciful ways. Imagine the universe as an enormous chalkboard. For a while, beautiful patterns appear, spirals of galaxies, bursts of stars, delicate webs of life. But entropy is the soft cloth that slowly wipes it clean, and eventually the chalkboard will be blank again, ready for nothing. It's like the universe itself is breathing out, creating, then erasing. It's almost funny, in a gentle way, to think of how seriously we take our fleeting achievements. The tallest skyscraper, the most famous painting, the most powerful empire. They're all just sand mandalas swept away by cosmic wind. You can almost hear the universe chuckling like, "Nice try, little humans." And yet, isn't there beauty in knowing you don't have to hold on forever? That you're allowed to just be a passing note in an infinite, unfinished song? There's also this soft paradox. Even though everything is temporary, it still matters now. The laugh you share with someone, the taste of something sweet, the quiet comfort of lying still in the dark. Those moments are precious precisely because they won't last. They're like fireflies glowing for a few seconds before vanishing. So if the universe will forget everything, you're free to let go a little, free to forgive yourself for what you didn't do, free to release the need for perfection, free to stop worrying about your legacy, because legacies are just stories written on dissolving paper. And instead, you can focus on the present moment, the only one that truly exists before it, too, drifts away. Take a slow breath and picture all your worries dissolving, just like the universe eventually will. Feel how light they are when you realize they're temporary. Feel how kind it is that even the worst things can't last forever. Entropy is not just decay, it's also mercy. It promises that nothing stays stuck. And when the final forgetting comes, not just for you, but for everything, you won't be there to see it. There will be no fear, no sadness, no you to notice. Just the quiet, endless release of all things. You've watched the universe erase itself, softly and inevitably. But let's turn that lens back to something even closer, your own reflection. Think about how you see yourself. Maybe you picture your face in the bathroom mirror this morning, or that photo someone tagged you in last week, or even the version you glimpse in the corner of a shop window. But here's the quietly unsettling truth. You've never actually seen the real you. What you see in a mirror is a reversed image. The way you tilt your head, the side of your smile, it's flipped. Everyone else knows a version of your face you'll never see directly, and even they don't see the real you, because their eyes distort color, shape, and detail based on lighting and their own brain's quirks. There's no single, true version. You're like a prism scattering endless reflections, none of them fully accurate. Mainstream psychology even has a name for how you misjudge your appearance: the mere exposure effect. You like the version you're most familiar with, which is why you feel a little off when you see yourself in a photo, because that's how you actually look to others, and your brain isn't used to it. You think you know your face, but really, you only know a comforting lie. Here's a quirky tidbit. There's something called the true mirror. It uses angled glass to cancel out the reversal, so you see yourself as others do. People who try it often get emotional or unsettled because the person staring back doesn't look like them. It's like meeting a stranger who wears your features but isn't you. Scientists still argue whether there's even such a thing as an authentic self beyond these layers of perception. Are you the person you think you are? Or the person others think you are? Or just a collage of impressions, stitched together by memory and opinion? No one can agree, and maybe that's because there isn't a single answer. And it's not just your face. Think about your voice. When you speak, your skull vibrates, adding deeper tones that only you hear. But everyone else hears a thinner, higher version. That's why recordings of your voice sound so alien. You've literally never heard yourself the way others do. Even your personality is filtered. The you at work isn't the same you with close friends, or the you who lies awake at 3 a.m. thinking about old conversations. You're a shifting reflection in every social mirror. And while you might crave a real version beneath it all, maybe there isn't one. Maybe you're just the sum of all those reflections, changing shape depending on where the light hits. Here's the thing. No one else truly sees you either. They see their version of you, shaped by their own biases, moods, and memories. You exist in hundreds of different forms inside other people's minds, none of them matching the way you feel inside yourself. You're like a painting viewed from countless angles, never the same twice. It's kind of funny, isn't it? You spend so much time worrying about how you come across to others, but they're not seeing you anyway. They're seeing their private hallucination of you, and you're doing the same to them. We're all walking around like funhouse mirrors, reflecting distorted images of each other. Even deeper, you can't see the real you, because your perception of yourself is always colored by memory and mood. Think about a time you felt confident and liked what you saw in the mirror. Now think of a time you felt insecure and hated that same reflection. The face didn't change, only your mind did. So which one was real? Both? Neither? Imagine standing in a hall of mirrors, endless reflections stretching away, each slightly warped. You move, and they all shift. That's your identity. Fluid, mutable, never pinned down. And maybe that's okay. Maybe you don't need one fixed, perfect version. Maybe you're meant to be a mosaic, not a single piece. So if no one, including you, can truly see the real you, why not let go of the pressure to look or act a certain way? No single snapshot defines you. No single impression lasts. You're already many things at once, and all of them are temporary. Take a slow breath and imagine all those reflections. Your mirror self, your photo self, your inner self, blurring gently at the edges. They're all just perspectives, shifting like clouds. And behind them, maybe there's a calm you don't need to see to know it's there. A self that doesn't need an audience. And in that soft blur, there's freedom. Freedom to exist without needing to be seen perfectly. Freedom to accept that you're more than any single version. Freedom to rest in the fact that the real you is not something you can hold in your eyes. It's something that simply is. You've let your many reflections blur into something softer, something less fixed. But now, let's shift the focus from how you appear to what you're made of. Beneath the skin, beneath the endless renewing cells, beneath the stories you tell yourself about who you are, lies something astonishing. You are made of dead stars. It sounds poetic, almost cliché, but it's literal. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, they were all forged in the heart of ancient stars that lived and died long before Earth even formed. When those massive stars exploded in supernovas, they scattered their heavy elements across space, seeding clouds of gas that eventually condensed into planets, oceans, and eventually you. You are, quite literally, cosmic debris, reassembled into a thinking, breathing pattern. Mainstream astrophysics calls this process nucleosynthesis. The lightest elements, like hydrogen and helium, were born in the Big Bang. But everything heavier, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, the building blocks of life, was cooked in the fiery cores of stars. Without those explosions, you wouldn't exist. It's humbling to think your body carries the memory of stars that died billions of years ago. Here's a quirky tidbit. Every single atom of gold on Earth, even the gold in a wedding ring or a necklace, came from neutron star collisions. Those cosmic smash-ups are so rare they only happen once every 100,000 years in a galaxy. So when you see gold, you're looking at the product of one of the most violent, extraordinary events in the universe. And somehow, that ended up here, in your world, quietly shining. Scientists still argue about exactly how life began on Earth, but most agree the raw ingredients came from space. Maybe they hitched a ride on comets, or maybe they brewed in the oceans after those star-forged elements settled. Either way, your existence is a continuation of a chain that started in the cores of long-dead suns. When you inhale, you're breathing in the same particles that once drifted through distant galaxies. And think about this. The atoms that make up your body right now won't stay with you forever. Someday, they'll scatter back into the world, into soil, air, water. They'll be reused, maybe in a tree, maybe in another human, maybe even in some future star. You're part of a cosmic recycling program, endlessly reshaping itself. Imagine the scale for a moment. Those stars that birthed your atoms were born themselves from even older stars. You're the child of countless generations of cosmic events, a lineage stretching back 13.8 billion years. Your story didn't start with your birth. It started with the universe itself. And yet, despite that grand history, you're so small, so temporary. But there's a calming beauty in that too. You're not separate from the universe. You're made of it. You're a tiny piece of the same material that forms mountains, moons, and galaxies. When you look up at the night sky, you're not really looking out. You're looking into a mirror of sorts. The same dust that built those stars built you. Here's something funny about human perspective. You spend so much time feeling like an isolated individual, trapped in your head, worrying about your little life. But really, you're a ripple in an ocean of stardust. A brief, shimmering pattern the universe made for a moment before it moves on to the next one. And somehow, you got the chance to notice it. Even the elements in your body have stories. The calcium in your teeth was born in a star about the mass of our sun. The oxygen you breathe was made in massive stars 10 times larger. The carbon in every cell was forged in stars that lived fast and died young. You're a walking constellation of ancient stellar lives, carrying pieces of the cosmos like a secret you didn't even know you held. So when you think of yourself as small or meaningless, remember that you're also vast. You're made of the same stuff as nebulae and planets and black holes. You're both fragile and infinite. And when your time ends, you'll go back into that grand cycle, scattering your atoms so they can join something new. It's oddly comforting to know you're not truly lost, even in death. You'll become soil, air, perhaps even part of another life. You'll drift back into the stars. The universe reclaims everything, but it also never wastes anything. So take a soft breath. Feel the air that's been part of countless beings before you. Let your heartbeat remind you that you're connected to something unimaginably old and enduring. You're not just in the universe. You are the universe for this fleeting moment. You felt the weight of stardust in your veins, the quiet lineage of ancient suns flowing through you. But now let's take an even stranger detour. What if none of it, the stars, the galaxies, the atoms in your body, is actually real in the way you think? What if this whole thing is a simulation? It sounds like science fiction, but even mainstream thinkers have seriously considered it. The argument is unsettlingly simple. If any civilization in the future becomes advanced enough to simulate reality in extreme detail, down to conscious beings like you, then the odds we're not in a simulation shrink to almost nothing. Because if simulated realities are easy to create, there would be billions of them, and only one base reality. Statistically, you're more likely to be in one of the simulations than the single original. Scientists still argue whether this is even testable. Some think there might be glitches in the fabric of reality, tiny anomalies in the laws of physics that hint at artificial coding. Others believe it's impossible to know because the simulation would be designed to hide itself. And here's the spooky part. If you did find proof it was a simulation, would it even matter? You'd still be in it. Here's a quirky tidbit. In 2017, researchers studying the distribution of cosmic rays noticed a strange pattern, too uniform, almost like it was limited by a grid. Some people joked it might be evidence of pixelation in the universe, like we're living in a giant rendered video game. Of course, it's probably just coincidence. Probably. But think about it. The laws of physics behave like code, stable, predictable, and mathematical. Particles pop in and out of existence in ways that feel more like computer processes than anything natural. And quantum mechanics? It's almost suspiciously weird, like it's running only when you observe it, as if the simulation saves processing power by rendering details only when someone looks. Even your own brain feels like a program. It runs on electrical signals. It processes inputs, makes outputs. Consciousness, as we said, might just be a glitch, like an unexpected side effect of complex coding. So what if you're not even the player in this game, just a character running on script? Here's the calming twist. If reality is a simulation, none of your stresses really matter. It's all just part of the game. The awkward thing you said, the bad day at work, the fears you carry, they're like temporary setbacks in a video game. You can almost laugh at them. Because if this is all programmed, the pressure to get it right dissolves. You're just here to play through your storyline. And in a way, it makes you feel less alone. Because if it's a simulation, it means there's a creator, or at least a designer. Maybe not a god in the traditional sense, but someone or something that built the rules. Or maybe it's not one designer, but layers of them, simulations inside simulations, like Russian dolls. You could be in a simulation running inside another simulation, and so on, with no base reality at all. Imagine how freeing that is. If the walls around you, the stars above you, even your own body are just rendered data, then all the heaviness you feel is lighter than you think. You're like a character in a dream that doesn't need to worry about the dream ending. It's funny when you think about how people build video games today. NPCs, non-player characters, have dialogue, routines, even little personalities. They think they're real in their tiny worlds, but they're just lines of code. What if you're an NPC in someone else's simulation? Would it change anything? You're still here, still thinking, still feeling. Reality would still feel real because that's how it's designed. Scientists still haven't found proof either way. Maybe this really is the base reality, or maybe it's just one of infinite layers. You'll never know for sure. But does it matter? Whether it's a simulation or not, the experience feels real to you. The taste of food, the sound of music, the warmth of someone's hand. It all carries meaning simply because you feel it. So why not treat it like a game? Try things, fail, laugh. Don't take every challenge as life or death, because maybe it isn't. Maybe the whole point is just to explore and experience before you log out. Take a slow breath and look at the room around you, or imagine it in the darkness. The textures, the colors, the sounds. All of it could be rendered in real time, just for you. And somehow, even if that's true, it's still beautiful. It's still your little corner of the simulation. And if it is just a game, then there's nothing to fear. Even the end isn't really an end. It's just the screen fading to black, the program closing, the memory returning to wherever it came from. And maybe, just maybe, there's another level waiting you can't see yet. You've wandered through time's illusion, the universe's indifference, the fragile nature of consciousness, and even the possibility that none of this is truly real. Now let's face the final, softest truth of all. You will cease to exist. And somehow, that's beautiful. It's the one certainty you carry. One day, your breath will stop. Your heart, so steady now, will fall silent. Your brain will flicker once more and then go dark. The you you've built from memories and hopes and tiny routines will dissolve. And after that, nothing. No fear, no noise, just the deepest sleep you've ever known. Mainstream biology tells us death is simply the body completing its cycle. Cells break down, energy disperses, atoms return to the world that loaned them to you. It's not malicious. It's not even dramatic. It's like a candle reaching the end of its wax. It just gently fades. Here's a quirky tidbit. After you die, a tiny part of you keeps living for a while. Some cells, like those in your skin, remain active for hours, even days, doing their quiet work until they too surrender. It's as if your body lingers for a moment, unwilling to completely let go. But eventually, everything merges back with the world. Scientists still argue about what, if anything, happens beyond that moment. Some say consciousness simply ends, like a TV shutting off. Others wonder if it transitions into something we can't measure, something outside the limits of the brain. But no one knows. And maybe that's okay. Because even if there's nothing, no light, no tunnel, no grand reunion, it's still not something to fear. Think about the time before you were born. You weren't sad, you weren't anxious, you simply weren't, and it didn't hurt. Death is the same, a soft return to the same quiet you came from. And here's the soothing twist. Death ends all suffering. The fears you carry, the mistakes you replay, the aches and pains of living, they all stop. There's no pressure to keep moving, no demands to keep proving yourself. It's ultimate rest, complete release. Imagine it for a moment, not as something violent or scary, but as a slow exhale, a melting away. Your thoughts become lighter, quieter, until they're just whispers that dissolve into silence. The world around you fades like the final note of a lullaby. And then there's no more you to worry, to ache, to long for anything. It's the most perfect stillness. And even before that day comes, you're already living in a world of endings. Every night, you close your eyes and surrender your awareness, trusting you'll wake up again. Sleep is like a rehearsal for that final letting go. And if sleep feels peaceful, sometimes even blissful, why should the greater sleep be any different? Remember, too, that nothing in the universe truly disappears. Your atoms will scatter into the air, the soil, the rivers. You'll become part of trees, animals, maybe even someone else someday. You'll return to the stars that made you. In a very real way, you'll still be here, just rearranged into something new. It's funny to think how much energy we spend avoiding this thought, pretending we're immortal in small ways. But facing it doesn't have to feel heavy. It can feel like acceptance, like closing a book after the final chapter, knowing the story was enough just as it was. And here's the soft secret. Knowing you'll end makes this moment more precious. The breath you're taking right now, the sound of these words, the tiny details of your life, they matter because they're temporary. If you lived forever, you'd stop noticing the beauty in small things. It's the limits that make it sweet. So take a slow, deep breath. Feel it fill your lungs, then let it go. Feel the weight of your body, the gentle hum of existence around you. Know that for now, you're here. You're alive in this fleeting instant. And one day, you won't be. And that's okay. Because life isn't about lasting forever. It's about being awake for the moments you have. When the time comes, you won't need to fight. You won't need to cling. You'll just drift back into the same quiet the universe has always held. And maybe that quiet isn't an ending at all. Maybe it's just a deeper kind of rest. Now, before you let go completely, let's slow everything down, just for a moment. Imagine the night sky, dark, endless, and soft. Stars twinkle faintly, like they're whispering lullabies from light years away. You breathe in, and the air feels lighter now, softer, as if the universe itself is tucking you in. The edges of your thoughts blur, stretching like mist, and the weight of every worry loosens. You're safe here. You're small, but in the most comforting way, like a single note in a vast, peaceful song. Let the quiet hold you. Let the soft hum of existence fade into silence, and just rest. Sweet dreams.